What is up, YouTube? Kid Moto back at you with another motovlog. I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic that kind of came to me when I was listening to another YouTuber. I was watching his video and it was Percy. So being here now with Percy, if you haven't watched anything by Percy, you need to find him, look him up, subscribe to his videos, give him a follow. He's got some good content out there. It's old versus new, and I'll kind of explain what that means. So let's talk about that. Welcome back, YouTube. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about this old versus new, and I'll kind of I'll get into a little bit how this came to me, and there are a couple of YouTubers that inspired it a little bit, and give you my take on it. So I was watching a video by Being Here Now with Percy, and he was listening to Green Day's American Idiot album. And I have listened to the album hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, but I'll admit it's been a while since I've listened to it, and it just reminded me of how the album is kind of politically charged, but it's an old album, you know. It's 10, 12, 14 years old, and the lyrics are really something that could be, you know, could be related to what we have going on in our society right now, and how volatile our political environment is. So just reminded me that, you know, some things that are old can be new again. And it made me think about, in motorcycling, some people prefer old bikes and some people prefer new bikes, and the various reasons why that might be. And so for me, I'll kind of get into it. So my second bike was, of course, my 2009 Nightster 1200 in the Sportster family, and it was a bike that I had enough confidence in my ability to work on. It was an older bike, fuel injected, no doubt, but a little bit older bike. And so I obviously had confidence that I could work on it and do the things I needed to do to it, and obviously do mods to it and that kind of stuff. But I didn't know if that bike was going to fit the kind of riding that I wanted to do, and the style of riding that I was really looking to. And more importantly, I wasn't fully comfortable with having a bike that had a few, you know, two owners at least, and not necessarily knowing what was done to it before, how they rode the bike, and whether that bike was going to be reliable for me for the kind of riding that I like to do. So for me, I spend the majority of my riding commuting, and the rest of my riding is kind of, you know, long distance riding. You know, get on my bike, ride 150, 200 miles, you know, take a road trip somewhere. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you have a reliable bike that's going to get you back and forth where you want to go. And so that was part of the reason why I upgraded to my bike, because this is obviously a 2017 Road King Special. This bike is obviously very reliable. It's on a touring chassis, which, you know, really enables me to do the riding that I want to do. But for me, it goes back to that old versus new, right? So this is a newer bike. It should be more reliable. Now, some people might argue that Harleys don't have a great reputation for being reliable, and I would argue that in the last 10 years they've probably done away with that myth that most Harleys are I would say very reliable. Again, some people might argue that point, but when you're thinking about that theme, that old versus new theme, I knew that a newer bike should be more reliable, and so it was going to give me the opportunity to do the riding that I want to do, to be able to commute back and forth to work and not have to worry about it, to have an opportunity to have a warranty that was going to cover some things in case I had an incidental, which I had. I had an opportunity to utilize a warranty, and it worked really well for me. I actually ran over at some point an 8-penny nail ended up in my back tire. Now the nail was all the way in, and in a place that the nail itself, I hadn't ridden around on it long enough that I wore the head of the nail off, so the nail was actually holding the air in the tire fairly well. And so I was able to fill the tire back up, get the air pressure squared away, and get my bike into the shop. The warranty served me perfectly. I paid the $50 deductible and made the appointment, and they installed a brand new tire, no questions asked. And it was really pretty funny because the guy, the shop manager said, yeah, you know, it was a good deal for you. You saved yourself $374. So I was happy about that. The warranty worked good. And then it gets right, you know, again, kind of feeds into that old versus new theme. I got a new bike. I purchased a warranty, and that warranty really paid off for me. So the ironic thing is that to play off that theme, there's another YouTuber that I followed that again, you know, inspired me, provided some inspiration for this video, and that's Saddle Tramp. If you guys don't know who he is, you need to follow him. He has got some really cool stuff out there, and he had a newer bike, and you might have to correct me, but I believe he had 2013 to 2015 Heritage. I'm not positive on that, but I think that's what he had. And he traded another rider for an older Harley, and I want to say that he traded him for a Deluxe or a Deuce. I'm not sure which, but regardless, he traded his fuel-injected bike for a carbureted bike. Traded down, and traded somebody, you know, straight across the board. And again, it feeds into, like, the inspiration, like I said, the old versus new inspiration. He is more comfortable with and prefers older bikes. He likes the Evo engines. He likes a bike that he can do 100% of the work on, that he can tear it all the way down and put it all the way back together. That's his comfort level. That's what he likes to ride. He likes those older engines. He likes the way they sound. He likes the way they feel. And that's really, you know, it's really one of the beauties of motorcycling, or the things that I really, you know, enjoy most about it is making it your own, riding your own ride. But most of all, your bike becomes an extension of who you are. How you ride, the bike that you ride, the mods that you do to your bike, whether you service it or whether you don't. It's all kind of a reflection on, you know, on you. And that's not to say that reflection is negative or positive. That's just to say that it very much reflects who you are, you know, the style of bike that you ride, the kind of riding that you do, you know, whether you mod your bike or don't mod your bike, whether you service it or don't service it, all those things, reflection on you. and it's like I said, it's part of the great thing about motorcycling. But speaking of new, I'll be involved in a new podcast coming out. Podcast's first official episode will be dropping in the end of August. The 5 Dirty Bikers podcast. And I'll hit you with a promo video right now. So that's a new podcast, the 5 Dirty Bikers. Podcast is going to be hitting all your favorite podcast sites. August 30th will be the first official podcast. We will hit you up with another podcast on probably a week or two after that. We'll be doing a podcast event from the Midwest Moto Meetup, and so we'll be dropping that video very soon, or dropping that podcast very soon after the end of the Midwest Moto Meetup, and then it's going to be weekly or bi-weekly after that. So it's going to be a good time. 5 of us with varying degrees of motorcycling experience. We all ride Harleys. However, we all have different Harleys in different riding styles and different things that we prefer to do with our bikes and with our mods. And again, always very representative of our personality. So that's for sure going to be reflected in our podcast. But so that's a little bit of the new. So let me know in the comments below what your preference is, old versus new. Do you prefer to ride an older bike that you can do some things to, you can do some mods to, that you do the service on? Or do you prefer to ride a new bike that there isn't much to do, not a lot of maintenance, not a whole lot of things you need to do to it, looking for some reliability? Like I said, let me know in the comments below whether you want that old versus new. There's something to be said about that older nostalgic style. There's also something to be said about a bike that's going to get you where you want to go and that you can count on. And both of those things might be true, whether your bike's old or whether it's new. I have a feeling that at the Midwest Moto Meetup, Saddle Tramp and I are going to have an opportunity to talk about that, and he's going to prove me wrong, because he's going to be riding that old bike 2-up with his wife on the back to Midwest Moto Meetup. So we'll have ample opportunity to discuss this old versus new topic. It's going to be a good discussion for sure. So just want to thank you guys for spending some time with me today. If you like these types of videos, discussions about motorcycles, subscribe. If you like the content, give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when I upload new content. I'm really going for the bi-weekly thing right now, and I'm a little bit behind. I apologize. Let me know what you think. This is Kid Moto. I'm out.